Welcome, anybody and everybody. This is Lena Rodriguez coming to you from tomorrow in Australia. Now, just a little bit about my country before we move on. Our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, who is a Pentecostal and also an ex-ad man. Why do people keep voting for this? Anyway, has received an award from Trump, some obscure award. In my circles, we're talking about it as the somebody can be as stupid as I am award. And he got that for backing the US under the Yeti attacking China. China is our biggest trading partner, you know. And Scott Morrison waded in and started criticising China for their early handling of the virus and so on. Why would you poke the dragon in the eye? It is spectacularly stupid. But I just wanted to share a little story with you viewers. So back in the day when Scott Morrison was an ad man, he was responsible for this truly, truly dreadful ad. The idea was to try and attract new tourists to Australia, right? That was his commission. So he comes up with a blonde in a bikini at the beach. I mean, a man of vision, you've got to say. And she waved a hand at the ocean and said, "This is Australia. Where the bleep bleep are you?" Now, this ad then couldn't be shown in most countries around the world because it involves not one swear word, but two. It was a complete debacle. So the last time he won an award was for the worst ad. And so now he's up there as the best mate of the Yeti. Really, you couldn't script it, could you? Yeah. So first and foremost, Nashville, going to have a look. I'm using my Japaridze deck, a very unusual deck. Okay. It's very abstract. I don't use it often, but I wanted to get a vibe on what that was about. And I also had a dream about Mike Flynn. I mean, really, I do need to get out more. I know. Okay. Let's see. What's the story on Nashville? What's the story on Nashville? Let's have a look. Two of Swords. This has a lot of swords going on in it, this deck. Not this deck, sorry, this spread. So in the middle, we have the Queen of Swords. Now, she speaks to normally truth and justice and all those things. But in this context, I think this is a woman who's very cutting with words. So the guy or more than one who are responsible for the bombing in Nashville has been hurt by words, quite cruelly hurt. This is the problem, first digression viewers. Our worst mass shooting in Australia was by a young guy called Martin Bryant back in the day, and he shot 35 people in Tasmania. And it was truly dreadful, and it led to a big gun buyback scheme and so forth. But he'd been severely bullied, and I'm not excusing anybody for that. But what often happens is bullied people hold on to a lot of pain for many years. And I think whoever did this, the pain goes way back. In the past, the Three of Tides or the Three of Cups, this was, this is Oh, hang on, I'm getting a bit of a psychic download here. Why Nashville? Nashville and the music scene. Oh, I think he thought he was going somewhere in the music scene back in the day. I think this has a long history, that's what I'm saying. And then there was a crossroads, right? The Two of Wands or the Two of Swords. The Page of Wands. I think he was a songwriter or an aspiring songwriter. This is very weird. The challenge was love. I think he was turned down. Ace of Swords. And then he went to the dark side. I think it's one of those. I think that's, oh, how weird is that? That's not what I was expecting at all. And those of you who are old enough to remember the Manson killings, remember Charles Manson was a failed muso. And the terrible things that happened on that night was when they went to the wrong address, but it was to take revenge on the music industry. I think it might be something like that when we peel back the layers. We won't know for quite some time, but that blew me away. Oh, my word. So let's have a quick look at Michael Flynn, because he floated into my subconscious, and see what that's about. Michael Flynn. Now, we haven't got long now. It's only 10 days to the Georgia runoffs. And the 6th of January, the next day, this big astrological confluence. So I'll look at that in the next reading, promise. So let's have a look now at Michael Flynn, who of course has been pardoned, you know. Oh, what flew out? Three of Cups, just so we got this. This is, I think, the women in Flynn's life celebrating that he's been pardoned. So one can't help but feel things are weird for him, because sometimes the wives, the daughters and so forth, like Giuliani's daughter, are quite clear-eyed about when the men in their lives are exposed. But the women in Flynn's life are not like that. They're protecting the Mike Flynn they know and love. So at home, he's the hero. Ooh, yuck. Very disappointing with all those Flynn women. Okay, what else? Death card, the Ace of Wands, the Burden, the Emperor. Okay, so things are great at home. Not so good when he steps out the door. I think he's going to be done after all the dust settles, after the Yeti. Look, Mad Dog. Oh, I've got to read on the 25th Amendment too, because I'm up talking about. Okay, the Death card. It's the end of his career, regardless of what happens. Other generals have spoken up saying he's a disgrace to the uniform, and he is. But also at the death of the Yeti's reign, it's all going to come down. The Ace of Wands is going to come, my Fred Flintstone card, and hit him very heavily. He will have the burden of that, the real burden and the real guilt that led him to confess in the first place, lest we forget, right? But in some circles, he'll be considered a martyr. This can be the card of the martyr. And the Emperor, Flynn has been permanently altered in his brain. I think he went into his initial interviews and everything shamefaced and guilty, but he's been hanging around with Yeti files for so long. He thinks of himself as a bit of a mini emperor. So I think the legal stuff will come back to haunt him. Okay, so moving right along. as the craziness accelerates between now and the 5th and the 6th of January, somebody behind closed doors must be talking about the 25th. Will they do it or won't they? Let's have a look here. I'll go back to my Japaridzes. So, they're beautiful cards, but then, oh, sorry about the hair, guys. I haven't got any of the defrizzer, you know. So the 25th, is it being talked about? Has it got legs? Yes or no? The 25th. Are they going to have to bring out the 25th to actually get rid of him? Because all of us were reading on this 3 years ago, you know. So with tarot, we always say timelines are fuzzy and it can take 2 or 3 years to play out. But let's see. Let us see. Oh, he gets the death card too. Illusion, delusion. And the Ace of Pentacles. Look, they're talking about it. With the death card here, they are talking about it. There's no guarantee they're going to go forward with it, but they're talking about it. They're talking about the legal implications of it. That's the Ace of Wands or the Ace of Swords. Why they're talking about it is he's completely deluded. This we know. Look, the dynamic is sort of stuck as it's been for the last 4 years. Love, his base love him. They're very worried about his base. And then the Ace of Pentacles. They've got to make a decision to move forward with or without him. So let me do some clarifiers here because that doesn't really tell us much. I don't doubt they're talking about it, but they're scared of the base. What is this about? They're scared of the base. Scared of the base. Let's have a look. Oh, these are upside down. Yeah. Look, this is the Yeti in peacock mode, right? So he's still extremely popular in some quarters, however small. But he is now isolated, completely isolated, and sick. I would go so far as to say Trump is physically unwell, but this is abbattimento morale. He's morally sick and depraved and incapable. Incapable. And so the 25th Amendment is about when the president isn't able to carry out his duties. This is very interesting here. So I think it's definitely up for discussion, and that's the line they'll be taking to get around the base. If they do it, they'll be saying, very sorry, we love him too, but even though they don't, you know, we can all see those clips from back in 2016 where they nailed him honestly for being the vicious cretin that he is. And they're thinking about, is he sick enough for them to go forward with the 25th? We'll have to keep our eye on that. All right, intrepid ones. So please, intrepid viewers, keep me posted. You know how much I love you. This much, this. I can't even put on screen how much I love you. Right? So, see you very soon. I'll be back. You take care. We've survived to this point. So all my love out to you guys. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.